How's it going, everybody? CJ here, back with another video. We'll do another First Thoughts today. This First Thoughts is on Garth, One-Eyed. Before we hop into that, though, remember, hit the subscribe button. We only need like 15 more subscribers to hit 1,000. So please, just jam that button. Like this video and comment down below what you're doing with Garth. Also, in the description of this video, I got my compiled link where you can get the Twitch, Twitter, Discord if you want to chat with us. We got a TikTok in there. We've got the TCG Player affiliate link, the Patreon, and my personal store if you want to buy anything. If you want to support the channel anyway. And yeah, we're going to hop into this. So, Garth, One-Eyed. This card is... Okay. There's been a lot of really weird cards so far spoiled from Modern Horizons 2. So I was going to say this is one of the weirdest cards I've seen, or one of the weirdest cards in the set, but there's a lot of weird cards. But this card's super weird because it literally says other card names on it from like Magic's past. Like from Alpha Beta Unlimited Revised, like cards from that era. I mean, they have been reprinted since, but, well, some of them, but it's weird. So you can pay Wooburg to play him. You tap him, choose a card in that hasn't been chosen yet, and so you can just tap him to cast a Disenchant, a Disenchant, which just, well, okay, they're going to pop on the screen, so I don't need to read them all out loud. Disenchant, Brain Geyser, Terror, Shivan Dragon, Regrowth, and Black Lotus. This is crazy. So, there's just so much utility with this card, like, you can just make this kind of just like a good stuff commander, and you just have removal, you have recursion, you've got ramp, you got everything. You got card draw in the command zone. Like, this card is unbelievable. It's so good. You could just do whatever you want with this card, like anything. It's kind of like Kenrith, where it's just super open-ended, and you can just have like a value commander and do whatever you want in the deck, and it'll just hold the deck together by giving you card draw in the command zone, giving you removal. Like, you don't even need to have much removal in card draw in the deck because it's right there in the command zone for you. This card's powerful. So, the cards that I do want to talk about with it, though, are just good cards. One of the ways you can make this deck is kind of just throwing just Untappers, Haste Enablers, and Blink/Flicker effects in the deck. Like, just filling the deck with only that, pretty much. And just going nuts with Garth and having Garth just untap and tap over and over and over again, do everything a million times. Which is honestly not even a bad game plan. And so the first card I want to talk about is Deadeye Navigator, just because it's an infinite combo with this thing. You play Deadeye Navigator, you play Garth, you have Garth make a Black Lotus, crack it, use Deadeye Navigator to blink Garth. As long as you have a Haste Enabler in play, you're just able to make Black Lotuses and crack them and bounce and do it over and over and over again and generate infinite mana. And you can dump all that infinite mana into the Brain Geyser that you can cast with Garth and win the game that way, like through Thassa's Oracle or something. So, also just in general, any infinite mana combo wins you the game here. Anything. Any infinite mana combo. You can do some shenanigans with... Let me just double check this. You can do some shenanigans with cards like Freed from the Real and what's the other card called that's similar to Free? I didn't write these two down. I don't remember. I don't know why I didn't. And I don't remember what the other card's called. But if I remember to do so, it's on the screen right now. But these cards let you just untap him and you can generate more value in a single turn. But these are not, I think, the best effects for this. Because I think you're going to want a lot of flicker and blink effects in the deck so that way you can reset the chosen cards. Because the way Garth works is if you cast one of the cards, if you use them for one of the effects, you won't be able to do it again. But if you flicker it, blink it, it dies and you cast it again, you reanimate it, anything like that, it resets because it's a different card technically. So that's one way to get around it and being able to do a lot of shenanigans. So you're not going to want to have a ton of enchantments, or auras I should say, because they're going to fall off whenever you flicker, which kind of stinks. But there are a lot of good ways you can blink. There are a lot of good ways you can blink and flicker in this deck that you can use in these colors especially. Because, I mean, it's all the colors. There's a lot of good ways you can blink and flicker though. You got Brago, Imanatu, Soul Herder, All these are just letting you do it once a turn. You got some instant speed stuff like Ephemerate, Ghostly Flicker. You can use Charming Prince. When it UTBs, you can flicker it. You got Momentary Blink, which lets you do it twice. Dasa's Deep Dwelling and Conjurer's Closet. Fantastic ways to do this. At the end of the turn, you just bounce them. And Thassa is indestructible, which is super nice. Eldrazi's Displacer is cool. You got Mist Meadow Witch, which lets you do it a bunch of times. So if you have ways to like copy the trigger, I'm not sure if you can go infinite with Mist Meadow Witch, but there's a decent. I mean, if you have like Cannon, then you definitely can. It's interesting. There's interesting stuff here. Emil, that's a pretty cool card there for blinking. You've got a whole bunch of instants and sorceries that let you do it, which are also really good because they can protect your Garth by like someone points removal at it. Then you can just cloud shift it, so the removal will oh my god, what's the word for not resolve? Fizzle. It'll fizzle because the target will disappear, and you'll get the re-enter and reset. You got Displace, Essence Flux, Flicker of Fate, Teferi's Time Twist, Turn to Mist, and Otherworldly Journey as well. All of those are just good ways to reset him. You're going to want a lot of ways to reset Garth because you're not going to want to just do all 5 and then reset him. You're going to want to do like 3 Black Lotuses in a row, or you're going to want to blow up 3 terrifying creatures, or make a bunch of Shivan Dragons in a row so that way you can make a big board. So these exile flickering effects are going to be very important just to reset. And you can also copy the triggers, so that way you can do whenever you tap them, you can do it twice. You can do that with Illusionist Bracers and Battle Mage's Bracers, which are okay. They are equipment, so it's a little annoying because you have to re-equip, but I think they're worthwhile. And you also have Lithoform Engine, which is just fantastic, and Rings of Brighthearth. Both those seem absolutely fantastic in this deck. Next up, we've got Haste Enablers, because you can take full advantage of these blink and flicker effects if you have haste, because you can do this like if you have a bunch of mana, you can just like Deadeye Navigator during each player's turn, and then just activate a bunch of times or whatever. Like you can do it at instant speed, you can do it multiple times in a turn, but you need to have haste. So there's actually a lot of very good haste enablers that you can throw into this deck, and those include Concordant Crossroads. You got 1,000-Year Elixir, which also lets you untap, which is huge. Very good. Very, very nice there. You've got Lightning Greaves, which, yes, it's equipment, but with 0 cost, it's easier. And you can also... But the thing is that it does give Shrouds, so you'll need another creature to pass it around to, so that way you don't get stuck with Lightning Greaves on your commander and not being able to target it with your blink effects. There's Anger, if you can get that thing in your graveyard. Swift Foot Boots, similar thing. Footfall Crater, you can just tap a land to give haste, which seems nice. Hammer of Purphos the Bronze Blooded, Urbrask the Hidden, Fervor, Fires of Yavimaya, Rhythm of the Wild, Temur Ascendancy. All of those are just static haste effects. Same thing with Bloodsworn Steward, Samut Voice Dissent, and Mass Hysteria. All those just flat out, your creature's going to have haste. Seems good. Also, Samut lets you untap, which is a huge bonus. And Temur Ascendancy lets you draw cards off your dragons. Seems good, off the Shivan Dragons entering. So, good additional value there. Next up, I want to talk about Untappers, so you can do this multiple times in a turn. You've got Fate Stitcher, Kior's Follower, Magerite Stone, Minamo, School at Water's Edge. You have Mind Over Matter, which is an interesting one because you can like discard a bunch of cards to make extra mana too that you can dump into like the Brain Geyser or something. Like, it's interesting. I need to double check something. You still pay the cost. Okay, good. Yeah, it makes sense. So, but like, yeah, it's like that's all good. Mind Over Matter seems great in the deck. You got Niblis of Breath. You got Dauntless Aven, Puppet Strings, and Puppeteer. Great includes there. Ralzeric is cool. Retreat to Coral Helm every time you play a land, so it's a little more restrictive, but it's free. Rhymewind Task Mage. All you got to do is... Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, no, it's fine, it's fine. All you gotta do is just play Snowlands, Snow Basics, and you'll be fine. Seeker of the Skybreak, Tidewater Minion, Tidal Force, Seedborn Muse, obviously, and Umbral Mantle. Great includes it. Also, Umbral Mantle, 0 mana to equip, so that works very well in the deck. And that's what I got for Untappers. Next up, I want to talk about just ramp. I'm not going to mention any ramp cards in particular, but you're going to want a lot of ramp in this deck because you do still have to pay the costs of these spells that you're casting off Garth. So you're going to need to fill the deck with those, like, a good amount of ramps. That way you have just the ability to cast them willy-nilly when you have like this whole setup going. Also, you can add in cards that are good for Dragon Tribal because Garth just pumps out dragons. So you can throw in stuff like Uvara Hellkite, Dragon Tempest, Scourge of Valkis, Dragon's Horde, and the Dragon. All those seem pretty decent in the deck. And lastly, the way I'd round out this style deck, I'd probably put a lot of control elements in because you're going to want ways to protect your Garth, and you're going to want ways just to like ensure that you have the stuff needed to answer threats. Like Ink Shield actually could be pretty cool in this deck because Garth is not good at stopping somebody from going wide, so you'd be able to just Ink Shield and go nuts. Counterspell, Deflecting Swat, Swords to Plowshare, stuff like that seems pretty good. Boros Charm seems great, just being able to protect against a board wipe. And yeah, that's what I have for Garth. He's very interesting, and I don't know how I would personally build it myself. Probably just go Value Town, like probably just use Garth as like the card in the deck and everything else just to let me Garth more often. Like that just seems like a fun way to do it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video though, and I'll see you next time. Peace out, everybody.